Mona Africa, Minister of Communication for the MOVE organization. I am the sole adult survivor of the May 13, 1985 government bombing and murder of my family. I am a representative of the International Concerned Family Friends of Mumia. I'm a former political prisoner. I did 7 years in prison for surviving that massacre. But most importantly, I am a revolutionary disciple of John African, MOVE's founder. And I don't hesitate or back up or apologize for saying I am a revolutionary.
Bunch of fake followers, that's not the move. But from the solid type, I'm approved. Stuff for who I'm comfortable. What I got to prove? Zach tried to warn me. Most were not before me. Won't like it or post a comment, but they watch your story. Might be yanking sleep, but they eyes be on me. Won't believe till I'm on that podcast with Nori. On Flat TV, next to Lazada BP. Envy ran me like See the God and Angela Yee. And got a nerve to tell me keep working. Like I don't know, they hope I fold, keep lurking. Creating my own ways, keep surfing. Spitting pain is a layup like G. Gervin. Big play for lyricism returning. So many accolades, P earned them. I came and said it, tell them lay embedded. Just had my money straight, I ain't taking debit. They ain't gotta like me long as they respect it. And the ones that fronted on me know that they regret it. I'm making way more noise than they expected. Control the game while they the contestants. Legendary King P's, and I'm here to make it great for MCs. Again, I chose to make a lane before I played the game. So never in jeopardy to gain a name. I knew the sun would shine for all the days of rain. I wish everybody would. Can y'all say the same? Unify, die. Let's build each other up instead of crucify. Unify, die. The best is yet to come, follow the signs. Some just had the skill and some don't. Some will and some won't. But who am I to judge? Well respected and connected, making moves without a plug. Westbrook flows and boots, I drop a triple dub. They hoping I lose, but they know how I move. Stand on my lonely, letting nothing hold me, showing I prove. Shine bright, me and this mic shine like Smokey and Q. Stick together, these peasants don't want no smoke, keep it cool. Please advise them, stop imitating, I see them jotting. City on my back in this way, and I need no proxing. Lanes hanging they self, no need to mop them. Ain't fading PZ, AC/DC, I keep it rocking. Grew up in the time when they was junior black mobbing. I was on the stoop wildin', bumping Coochie rap album. For the rise, I see it vivid. Up the top, no need to script it. On my grind of reaching ticket planes and stopping me, forget it. Jewel dropper, solid as a rock, I move proper. Got true honor, my word is my bond. Superb with wordplay, I ain't got a curse when I rhyme. Number for me, none to come. First of my kind, can't spin me with a 360. Put way too many hours in. Time to strip in the city. Babies need empowerment. Hurt me staying bottled in. Murder rate towering. The game been in need of relief. Is you following? I chose to make a lane before I played the game. So never in jeopardy to gain a name. I knew the sun would shine for all the days of rain. I wish everybody would. Can y'all say the same? Unify, die. Let's build each other up instead of crucify. Unify, die. The best is yet to come. Follow the signs.
Welcome. Peace and infinite blessings to my family. This is Welcome to BMa'at Inc., My name is Farugh Ma'at. I am the founder and executive director of BMa'at Inc. Happy Black Excellence Month. This is what it is. This is what we do. This is what we're representing. I have my guest with me, and thank you for joining us on this global movement towards self-discovery and empowerment. This is what we're doing here. And with me today is my brother, my my therapist, my comrade on this liberation struggle for empowerment, brother Joel Austin. How you feeling today, good brother?
Oh, brother, I appreciate you, man. More than you know. I only have two types of days. Those are good days and better days. So when I wake
I
up, the sun is on me. I start with a good day, and we'll see where we can take it there.
I say. So the purpose of this exchange is
Mm,
we wanted to talk about Black mental health matters, right? And this is episode one. This is the first one, and what this about is the sister. It's a going issue in our community, but this sister Chesley Chris, lawyer, 30 years old, former USA pageant winner, um, on Extra. She's on Extra. Life going on, successful, brilliant, beautiful sister decided to take her own life. And so that it just goes to show that we might see one thing, but something
mm,
else is going on behind closed doors. And so I just wanted to talk about that because it's just like this is an issue in our
mm.
community. And let's first like talk about what you think. And you know, you do trauma
Yeah.
therapy. Go on with your title. What titles
Oh,
are you presenting today?
my name is Joel Austin. I'm president CEO of Daddy University Incorporated. We work with we're a male parenting education company. We're 18 years old and the longest running male parenting education company in the United States of America, and African American owned, and and Black owned. Um, During that journey, I am also a trauma awareness and trauma informed trainer. I've also worked with hundreds of couples, of Black couples, and family. I'm not a therapist. I'm a realist, and I
Mm,
truly have been working with these couples for the best interests of their children. And I've done a lot of training in trauma, a lot of training in trauma awareness. And one of my greatest things I like to do is talk about healing, what that looks like, and what the path to healing looks like. That's about it.
yes,
And
that
I'm
sound
also a postpartum doula. So I
yeah. That's
have worked with death and understand death, but I also
mhm.
work in the field of life, and it helps you give a balance.
Yes. So let's all right, let's jump into it. Like we was talking about the stigma that's attached to mental health
Yeah.
in the Black community, the African community. What's your take on that?
The stigma basically is that something is wrong with me, that I'm broken, that I'm weaker than other people because I'm not able to handle X, Y, and Z, or that I handle X, Y, and Z differently than other people. It makes me not strong. And specifically in our community, not being strong, um, unfortunately, even by our own, can get you either picked on or pushed aside.
Mhm.
So we don't want to ever give that appearance that we're not as strong as. And what we will have to understand is that there's sometimes you need help being stronger,
Mhm.
and everyone needs help um, being able to maintain in this world in this lifetime. And of course, the universe, the all knowing, the powers have given us a million other people to help us.
Mhm.
Because you never see bees struggling. They work together in
Mhm.
unison to make one thing happen. So once we start feeling alone, that's an issue.
Yeah. So think about So I was reading this book, post-traumatic slave syndrome,
Yeah.
and she touches on that, and she touches on the fact that the distrust is, first of all, the stigma is that we were trained to suffer in silence. We were
Yes.
trained to suppress our emotions so we'd be able to survive. Um, that the that 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 honor is for, or that therapy, or that privilege of healing is for whites only.
Hmm.
Would you think? What would you say to that?
I was saying that's true. As a black male, I was trained not to cry.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I wasn't trained where to cry.
Mm.
I get it that I can hold to go along with the stigma. I'm able to hold it in and run into the fire and get everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a certain strength over others that I'm able to carry all four of the babies and get them to safety.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, I wasn't told after I get all the babies safe that it's okay to let all that out.
That's it.
So there are some times to be strong in some ways, but a lot of African American males and even African American women were not taught when. When
Mm-hmm.
I've seen brothers hold it in at a funeral, and I'm thinking, isn't this a
Yeah.
good time? Like, can't we?
Yeah.
It's okay. When is it all right to let this out and not feel the pressure of I'm weak or I'm not strong or I won't be able to stand up straight if I do, or I'll be looked at in a negative way throughout my entire community if I let it out. When I think as parents, as older adults, it's our time to go back to youth and younger and say, this is a good time. This is a good day. This is when you should let it out. This is when you should go to the park and scream once a week.
Mm.
Let it out.
Mm-hmm.
No man, no matter how strong that you've seen, has never not cried.
Right.
So let's just be real about that.
All right. So, and she also touched on the fact that this trust that was created, the distrust that was created with the Tuskegee Institute, the experiment, the Tuskegee experiment. And so, with that in our DNA, with that a part of our experience, is it okay to trust? Is it okay to go um, to the therapist and trying to get help, even though they might not be able to understand our experience as being Africans in this society, or throughout the world?
I'm going to say, as in 2022,
Mm.
that no, it is not okay to distrust, because you are allowed, and there are enough
Mm.
therapists with melanin that you can request and ask for.
Okay.
You are allowed to request a therapist of melanin, someone that works in trauma of melanin that can better relate to your situation. So in another time, I understand the distrust. In
Mm.
another time, almost every piece of information was used against us. In another time, they came and got information, even blood samples, and left. In
Mm.
another time, but as of today, I'm in Philadelphia. There's Jersey, New York. There's not a handful of Black therapists. There are hands fulls and arms fulls and plenty that could use the money, use the work, and that you are allowed to request now. You're allowed to go in and say, I appreciate, don't give me the first one available. Is there a African American, someone of descent that I can talk to? When are they available? Well, they're not available for a month. Well, I'll wait. You know what I
Right.
mean? You are allowed to also talk to friends of yours that have experiences, educational experiences behind it, not just the barbershops.
Right. Right.
Yeah, just don't shout it out during a sporting event. Oh, by the way, I'm suffering. And don't
There's a
go
time
too
and
far.
place.
There's a time and a place, and there are people you need to ask, what's your experience? if there is someone that has gone through alcoholism, if there is someone that is on the other side of depression, you should ask them. The other part is that we get a lot of distrust because people that we trust, we ask for this information and they give us the wrong information. The reason why they do love us and we end up distrusting that because the information was wrong. The information was wrong because you asked somebody you love, but that has never been through depression. You ask somebody you love that has never been through alcoholism. You have to ask someone you love and trust that has been through that journey, and then they can at least give you their recipe.
Facts. Oh man, you brilliant. You're absolutely brilliant. Absolutely
You're so
brilliant. And so yeah, so I just really wanted to touch that part of it because again, we don't want to just jump into the healing. I mean, we can just jump into the healing, but it gives it context. It kind of gives people a way to relate, a way to say, all right, I do feel that. I do feel that weight. And now it's like, what do I do with it? Now I have been given language to the things that I'm feeling. I wasn't able to articulate it before. I wasn't able to express it before, but now I'm given this way of articulating. I'm given this language to be able to do it now. So have you ever, there's different levels of mental disorder, mental illness. And I know I have experienced it. So what ways, let's talk about the healthy ways of coping with mental illness. So first of all, have you ever experienced mental illness, mental fatigue, mental disorder in any form or fashion?
Yeah, I experienced PTSD. I'm a Army veteran, so I was in Persian Gulf War or Desert Storm.
Oh wow!
And the interesting thing is, until I got into trauma and trauma awareness, there have been years when I had no idea that there was any effect at all. For example, I got out of I got out and it ended around 1991. But I ended up having a child in 1992. I had another child in 1993, and then another child 96, and then the year 2000. Not realizing that the being circled by death and the thoughts of death and the reality that death may come at any instant made me want to blossom and live. And that life made people pour into other lives. And we have a term for it now. It's called baby boomers. A lot of time through pandemic, through war, through famine, we ended up having this baby boom because when people are clustered and their mind goes into, I may not be here any longer, it makes them want to produce life and give some type of life. And children are a strong result of that. Babies and children are one of the strong results of that. People who get married right afterwards, and then years later be like, oh, things have changed. But the interesting thing about me is that when I found out and I knew, that's when I'm able to change course. Because many of us and many people with mental health, they believe that that's the normal way of doing things. They believe that sometimes yelling at the top of their voice is normal. Sometimes acting out in violence is just the way everyone does it. You meet people and you be like, well, yeah, my family reunion is off the hook. People be fighting and everything. And I'm thinking, that's not a normal family reunion that, when the police are called every year to your family reunion, that's, it's not a wrong thing. It's just to become aware of why this is happening. Once you become aware, and as we say these days, woke, you're able to really shift lanes. I stopped watching a lot of shows. I watch no shows that really have shooting in them anymore. I watch no shows that have a lot of death. I switched from this channel to Disney. and you are able to switch your lanes once you find out what. When you find out what food is causing you to be sick, you stop eating that food and you become healthier. It's the same thing with mental health. When you find out your surroundings, what's making you sick, you're allowed to change your diet.
Facts. That's funny when the highlight of your family reunion is the fight. What mental state you have to be in if that's the highlight of your
Or the
family
norm.
reunion? You're right. It's like, oh man, yeah, man, that fight was off the hook, man. That's the reason why I went. I
Yeah.
went, but that's, I know it's gonna pop off.
It's
The
gonna
food was good, everything else, but I knew it was gonna fight. It's gonna pop off. Aunt Pam
I'm
and
waiting
what's
around
name's
for it.
coming? Yeah, and Aunt Jessica coming.
Oh,
Oh man, I know it's gonna pop off, man. I gotta go. I gotta go to that because I know it's gonna pop
for my
off.
family
Yeah,
reunion. Yeah.
yeah,
Not the
that's
club, but
right. The family reunion, like the core family member, not cousin Bam Bam from North Carolina that comes up just for that. I'm talking about like the core people. Yeah, that's crazy.
and
So
people.
let's
Yeah, that's a norm.
yeah, it's the norm. So all right, so you say like one of my forms is self-care, like making sure washing my hair,
Mm-hmm.
getting my hair done, massages, things like that. It's like one of the key elements I do to balance the stressors of life, of the hustle or bustle. Um, Being around good people,
Mm-hmm.
being like cats like you and the Do It for Dads movement, and what I mean, Knowledge Born Our Law. Like being around cats like that just helps me. It refuels me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a great hobby. It's another one. A great hobby is stuff that you passionate about. Turn it into a hobby if you possibly can. And
Mm-hmm.
then after you turn it into a hobby, turn it into a business. Like this is a hobby for me. This is my passion. And now radio and nonprofit and t-shirts, and it went
Mm-hmm.
from helping people to now um materializing to where I can actually eat from it and benefit other people. Like I just did a budget for the Black Love event that we're doing
Mm-hmm.
the February 20th. And through my incorporation, I was able to pay artists who normally be street hustling and singing on the street for free and
I
stuff like
love
that.
that.
I'm able to cut them a check, and they like, yo, this is great. So I love being in a position,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, where you can give back and employ people and cut checks for people that normally don't get paid. They do it for the love of it. And so me being in this position right now all came from therapy.
We have
No
to
self therapy.
we have to talk about that too. You said a word which is when you talk about mental health, it is there's no cure, but it is one of the strongest pills, and that is
Hmm.
self-care.
Yeah.
I also find that from our history, from our um, slavery, slavery time, we were so much the givers and the
Hmm.
caretakers of our family and their family.
Hmm.
We only knew how to give. That this whole crazy idea of taking time out for
Mm.
me, specifically in this diaspora, is still in 2022 still not the norm.
Right.
It can, for an African American or a black person, it feels very selfish
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
actually sit in a park and listen to some music for a while. Like,
Hmm.
we have to somehow get self-care. For me, self-care is an investment. You invest this money,
Hmm.
and then now you got this payoff. You keep pulling this all week long, and then like a lottery, it comes out, and
Right.
that's the benefit. After taking care of this and taking care of that, I get my investment. I put in, so at the end of the week I get to, for an hour, for 2 hours, and
Hmm.
somehow we have to flip those words around, because self-care in our culture is
Mm-mm.
it can it feels and sometimes it sounds to sometimes our partners selfish.
Mm-hmm. When it's
If you have the wrong
selfless.
thought, when it's selfless, you're like, I
Yeah.
actually, every battery that is rechargeable has to eventually recharge.
Recharge.
Um, and I'm making myself better for you,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, that there's a weight. Mental health is a weight, and our conversation is about either balancing that weight or relieving a lot of that weight. And one of the tools is self care, and know your own self care. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it could be anything.
Yeah, it's specific to each individual.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
definitely want to share, I wanted to share that list just in
Mhm.
case people don't know. And it was like, if I can introduce you to something and make it okay, because I consider myself a man's man.
Ah,
I consider myself very masculine. I consider myself, so it's like, yes, I do take time out to do yoga. Yes, I do take time out to sit down in a park and take deep breaths. Yes, I do take time to listen to music. Yes, I do take time with family. Yes, I do these things because it fuels me to keep this fight going, to keep this challenge going. And so I just wanted to let them know that it's okay.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay to be selfless and
Selfless.
sometimes selfish if needs to
Hmm.
be. If people don't understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish,
Hmm.
you got to be selfish. If they're gonna label you selfish, then you be like, okay, if that's your definition of what I'm doing, okay, you can have that. But I'm
Hmm.
not gonna stop doing what makes me feel good. I'm not gonna stop doing that
Hmm.
helps me be a better me based off what you might be feeling temporarily in
Hmm.
this moment. So I'm not doing that, and that's a big lesson that I had to learn.
And people
Um,
have to realize, men, women have to realize, you can also arrange it, you can organize it, you can schedule it, so people are not surprised. People should already know, this is your day.
hmm
People should already know there's limited phone calls on Friday.
right,
There's limited this on Friday. Like, for us in our household, Friday is a huge family day. It's a
nice.
prayer day for us. It's a day to, I may not be answering certain phone calls at certain times, but after a while. So Nelson Mandela has said one time, it's interesting how people are. He said, when you walk with someone, either you start walking to their steps or they start walking to your steps.
Mm,
So with self-care, you're just going to have to keep walking, and then the next thing you know, even your own friends will say, no, let's not do this on Friday, let's change the whole thing to Thursday or Saturday, because we
hmm
know he's not going to be there. in
right,
the in the beginning, there may be some chatter and this,
right,
and man, yoga's crazy. I
hmm
promise you, the next thing you know, your friends will start walking to your step, because they'll find out you're calmer than they are. Your
hmm
life is simpler than theirs. And
hmm
the biggest ones will be like, yo, what's up with that slow moving thing you do?
hmm
Because you seem to
hmm
be chill, and I'm,
hmm
and
hmm
it's yoga, it's Tai Chi, it's these,
hmm
ancient arts has been around, and they'd be like, well, I'm gonna try it one time, but it looked funny. I'm not wearing the
Yeah,
skinny pants.
right,
Wear what you like, bro.
right,
But you need to chill, because you've been
right.
arrested 3 times at your own family reunion. So something got to change. You can't.
Facts.
You,
Facts. You
facts.
can't keep doing that over and over. That's the definition of insanity, they say. Expect doing the same things, expecting a different result. I mean, it's like you have to try something different.
Try something different.
And so, yeah, so also like seek help, man. Like it don't have to be professional. You know,
Don't have to be professional.
it don't have to be professional. Like I
It should be experienced.
it should be definitely be experience. But sometimes you just need somebody you can just vent to.
Yes,
And sometimes
yes,
you could just
yes,
be that listening ear and not
yes.
give feedback unless the person asks for feedback. And then you'll say, I don't have any experience of that. I don't know nothing about that. It's just an opportunity to just have a safe space
Yeah,
to
that
just have a
exhale, man.
real conversation. You know what I mean, and you won't realize how helpful that actually is just to be able to express. Because a lot of times people just talking, 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 the results and the solution would come out in that conversation, and they don't even realize it. A lot of times, the answers that we're seeking,
Mm-hmm.
we already know. We already been built with it.
I also feel specifically, I've been working. I'm a little prejudiced. I'm working around mostly black males a good portion of my life, and I have found that I don't really know why yet, but black males have not seemed to have safe spaces
Mm,
to be vulnerable and to be open. That they lack those places and those where they can just like you said, tell it all and not feel guilty and not feel this and not being judged against.
there you go.
Some of them married and in strong relationships and still don't have a safe space with
Hmm.
the woman that they're with. So we talk grabbing a friend. I mean, somebody that you trust, that you have a safe space, and like you said, they may not have none of the answers at all, but
Hmm.
just starting to let that air out, that air
Hmm.
of pressure, that air of stress, that air of worry, and just breathing it out. And because sometimes when you just give out your vulnerability or say, I'm about to have a baby and I'm afraid,
Hmm.
that's an incredible exhale. And you'd be
Yes.
surprised how lighter you feel just saying it. And then
Hmm.
somebody will say to you, I was afraid too.
Hmm.
I'm not the professional that can help you deliver, but I know a guy or this,
Right.
or there's a resource, or again, once you come with me to try yoga, if you don't try, we'll try something else. We'll keep trying,
Right.
whatever works for you.
So let me ask you a question then. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it is that we don't have the safe space? Why we haven't we created a lot of things? Why we haven't create? But you're looking at two entities here
Mm-hmm.
that provide that safe space, that provide that camaraderie, that provide that listening ear.
Mm-hmm.
BMa'at Inc., Daddy University. If you need those resources, if you need that kind of assistance, come to even one of us and our organizations, and we will lead you. We would we would definitely help you. We would definitely help you. So why do you think there's not a lot more safe spaces? And yeah.
I mean, in my mind, tribalism. We come from a unique people and a unique culture. For me, I'm sorry, I'm just it's the best. Um,
Mm,
my melanin gives me superpowers. We come from
right.
a unique people, but we come from tribalism, and
Hmm.
tribes have pitted themselves against each other for a long time. Let's not
Hmm.
forget that.
Right.
That culturally, we had to prove ourselves a lot of times just to be claimed as a man. Um,
Hmm.
Fighting this or fighting that or fighting each other to be
Yeah.
claimed as a man. So there's still
Rites of
some
passage.
rites of passage.
Yeah.
And this day and age, rites of passage is something else, but back then it was dangerous.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then
Oh
if you
yeah.
didn't come out alive, it was like, oh well, you know,
He wasn't a man. He wasn't a
right?
man.
Let's
He'll
go
come
have
back the
another
next.
one.
He'll come back the next life cycle, and he'll try it again. You
I
know,
got
like
12 kids. I just grab another one.
yeah, you go get that, go tackle that lion, grab his tooth, yank his tooth out, bring it back to the, and then you're a man. I mean, so the
I
rites of
ain't say the
passage that
wisdom tooth. You got
right
the wrong
now you
tooth.
got to go back and go get the right tooth. But that's what I'm saying. Like we have, we don't have like the amount of pressure
Yeah.
they had. We do not have. Like it's like, and that's what like the lot of rites of passage. And let me stay on task. I could go off task. So let me ask you a question. So then, the resources you was referring to, far as like the black therapist,
Mhm.
do Daddy University have like a list of black therapists they can actually suggest?
Our number one resource is Black Men Heal.
Mm-hmm.
They're available on Instagram and Facebook. They provide 6 sessions for free,
Mm.
and experienced people are allowed. And also, they allow 6 sessions for free for participants. And they're also always, I'm not going to say hiring, but looking for Black volunteers like myself to come in and and for Black men to have certain conversations with them. So on the same side, if anyone has a degree or has, you know, mental health and wants to work specifically with Black men, go to Black Men Heal. And if you're in need of help and you're looking for someone specifically of melanin, go to them, and they provide 6 free sessions. After that, you can get into insurances, but the 6 is a good start to get you.
Yes, it is.
Because
Yes,
back
it
to what we were
is.
saying, we're still coming out of as African American men, we're still coming out of competition. Even our women compete against each other a lot. God forbid one of them walks in with the same dress as the other.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
that's
goodness.
that's when the family union got popping, because you knew I was wearing that. You knew I was wearing
You
that.
know,
You
yeah.
knew. See, I had it first, so we still in so much competition. It's hard for us to get down to transparency and vulnerability. But again, I'm not going through the same things they were going through, that type of famine and that type of food and famine. So I do have a little more time to try some things. So, like you, I tried to talk to somebody, and then maybe it didn't work. And I tried somebody else, it didn't work. I called Farugh, and it did work. And now I'm like, that wasn't bad. And, you know, I tried again. And then, like you said, you end up, you have in mental health. So there's a story, and it really describes mental health. So a guy is driving along the highway, his car starts messing up, and his car starts sputtering, and he's on the highway, and he's going really slow now because the car is moving slow, and he doesn't know what's wrong with it, but he keeps moving. Now people are coming behind him, they're honking their horns, they're yelling at him because he's holding up the road, he's doing all this kind of stuff, and people are giving him the finger and everything. A week later, he gets it fixed, but it happens again on the highway. He's on a highway again, the same thing. The car's messing up, but this time he puts on his hazard lights. And now, because he put on his hazard lights, people are slowing down a little bit. They're not swerving. People are saying, "Do you need any help? Do you need something?" It's not easy to put your hazard lights on, but I can say to anybody that's watching, the people that are going to watch, just try your family out, try some of your friends out. And now it's not a secretive thing. There's enough commercials to say to a friend, "Hey, do you know anybody that's, you know, suffered through depression?" And it may say, "Yeah, me," or they may say, "Your aunt did." And then now you're allowed to go to your aunt and talk about some of the issues that are going on, and you'll find someone, I promise you, close to you that has gone through or is going through it, and you can find someone to go through it together.
Wow. Yep. There you go. That's it. And we forget, or we take for granted, the power of positive human interaction.
Yeah. From a trauma standpoint, positive human interaction is still the number one thing to reverse trauma. It is still the number one, I can't say cure. One of the number one solutions is positive human relationships and positive human interactions. If you have been abused in some way, it makes you withdraw from human interactions. But what we have found is those same people who with PTSD, those same people with anxiety, we've given them dogs and cats. You know, those warriors that have come back from being blown up, we've given them animals and found that just that type of interaction has helped them. And then from then on, they start finding people in the world in these groups that are the same as them. In addiction, you have groups, and the support groups of the addiction help people positively help through addictions. That positive interaction is the number one solution to reverse some of the negativities that the trauma can have on a person.
Thanks. And it's funny because I did, in preparation for the show, I was wondering why is that the case? So what you think that is?
It's just I don't want to get too deep, but the creator and the universe is just made for us to connect. I mean, we just, no matter what, you know, your belief is, that there is still a circle. There is this life and it's death, and then everything that happens in between. We're just so connected to water and trees and flowers and the turtles and the sea turtles. We're, you know, we're affected by what the dolphins and sea turtles are doing. I know when you're in New York and Philly, you don't think that way, but the reality is the water is rising and falling because of it. We're affected because what the moon is doing, and part of us is that we've been brought to this world to connect with someone or somebody, and the lack of doing that, specifically like during the pandemic, kept us from doing certain things, and it's caused a lot of people to have a lot more anxiety because they weren't able to share, show, touch, hug, and now that's why people will be like, man, these people are crazy. They running around without masks. We're made to connect with other people.
Yeah. We are
Anybody
definitely
tell you
communal
that they're
people.
better off alone is a liar.
Yeah.
They got 12 cats. I mean,
Yeah.
if they tell you you walk in
You go
that
to
house,
it. Yeah, buddy. Yeah,
no,
buddy. Cat piss smell all over the place.
all over the place.
Staying
But I get it. But you love affection because you have
Right.
12. That means you do love affection. You do love hugging and things like that. So don't tell me anything otherwise. If people say I'm happy being single, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just going to say I doubt that a lot.
I think they're in denial. That's some trauma there. There's some trauma there to be like, you know, and the denial is you don't have to face it. If you just say, listen, I'm happy, I'm good, I don't have to. Okay, all right, that's where you are right now. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna embrace that. Yeah, I'm gonna embrace that because you might be right. I don't think you're right, but you know, if that's how you feel and that's how you choose to express yourself, fine, have at it. I mean, like, have at it. Yeah. So they say that it boosts this oxytocin.
Oxytocin. Yes.
Oxytocin, and
That's
it's like
good stuff.
yeah, and so it's like it creates this human bonding love hormones that's created like during childbirth that makes it not as strenuous, and things and boost, and a lot of things that you mentioned. There's ways to boost that loving hormone. I mean, it's the hugging, the kissing that boosts feelings of love and contentment and security and trust. More people are more willing to communicate and be cooperative.
Absolutely.
You know, and so that's why it's hard that's why when you get into argument, you really say, you know what, let's stop here. Let's breathe together. Let's take a step back and let's reconvene. We'll become in the place of love, in that place of love. Because if you don't, then things is going to be said that you can't take back, and then they hold on to that, and then it's just a whole mess. So yeah, so I just wanted to because I was just sitting there thinking, like, man, what creates that? Because I know when I talk to you, I can have a very challenging day, but I'll talk to you like even you having this discussion now, like it's like it boosts. I'm like, man, I feel great. Then it's like scientifically, what is that?
You can,
yeah, I mean, because like my mind is always like, why? Because it's like, because that's your solution. Like if you feel bad, it's like, all right, then I know what to do to feel better. I mean, so I'm always ask why.
You can create that though. So
yeah,
on your show, I'm just going to say it right now. You can actually create your own oxytocin plan. In our sessions, we call it a safety plan. You can grab it when the day is going crazy, when life is going crazy. You can actually have your own portable oxytocin happiness package. There is a favorite smell that you like that makes you happy. There is a favorite song that you like. There is a scripture. There is a saying that you like. There are certain people that you see pictures of that make you happy. You can literally carry those around in your purse or wallet or bag. When things start to get crazy, you can pull those things out. You can pull out a candle that smells like something that you are in love with, and it would actually change your brain. So there's a piece in your brain that is a guardian. The amygdala there's amygdala behind each ear. It is small, it is almond shaped, it is a recorder of all danger, of a trauma. Of when you put your hand at 3 years old near a stove and it almost burned. The amygdala recorded that. It processes data and tells the brain what we should do next. So at 50 years old, the amygdala, because of your experiences, has told you to put a glove on before you reach to the oven. It's still aware of the heat, and it remembers all of that. So the amygdala is the reason why we came up with the term 0 to 100 real quick, because if something traumatic happened, the amygdala recorded it, and if you're ever in that environment again, your body starts going into a fight or flight mode. On the other hand, that's the information that's out there, and that information is true. On the other hand, the brain has its own way to go from 100 down to 50 real quick. If I'm hurt, if I'm angry, if I'm in the middle of the street with a knife in my hand about to go at it, and if I'm at rage, if I smell sweet potato pie, my brain will take me back to 9 years old.
Wow.
And the feeling of that and the smell of that and where I was when I smelled it. And at that point, I'm not in rage anymore. Because my brain has said, we're safer now. We're good. And it's the way the brain can shoot up to anger and rage, it can shoot back down to comfort real quick. It can, but you have to try to know what those comforts are. Because you can be upset with your boss and play one song. I tell Jordan, this is how we do it. And then you this is how, and then you like, oh man, this job is all right.
You go into your dance.
This ain't this.
You go into your dance. Start going into your dance. Yeah. Go into your happy place.
You go right to your so you can
go
bring
right
yourself
to your happy place.
down. You can bring yourself down, but you got to know what those things are. Everybody has their own. I am a lover of the ocean. I'm a Cancer, so I'm land and sea. Before I got into trauma, I did not realize I had come up with my own safety plan. So now that I am into trauma and instructor trauma, I realize now if you come into my office, there are seashells. If you come into my living room, there are seashells. In my bedroom, there are seashells. In my bathroom, there are seashells. And I realized one day, like, oh, so I had kind of put these safety things in place because I love the ocean and the seashells. I thought I was decorating, but my brain was like, no, we need this to stay balanced. And I'll sit around having a conversation near to something I love and like. If you love sweet potato pie, then light a candle called sweet potato pie. If you are a lavender, there's a candle for everything right now. And I promise you, it's really hard to have a heated argument around something that smells, that makes you happy, around a smell that makes you happy. So, that's why I know that was a lot of sorry.
Oh no, that's great. But this is why the platform was created. You know, the platform was created to share these kind of stories for people to just learn. And like I said, that is okay. That is okay. That men burn candles, and it's okay that men get massages, and it's okay for men to do yoga, and it's okay for, it's an expression of divine masculinity. They say self-care is you honoring the God that's in you, or the goddess that's in you. So it's a form of worship. I mean, excuse me. Hold on. So if we're not doing that, that don't make no sense. Like if we're not doing that, then we're totally disrespecting the Most High. Then we're totally disrespecting our divine creator, the divine energy, because why would you not honor? Why would you not worship the essence, the God of the essence of God or goddess that's within? This is just a shell. You know what I'm saying? This is just a shell. So you have to honor, I think, anyway, for me, this is my mindset. This is just me speaking for myself.
Listen, I agree with you. If you believe in divinity, if you believe in me. Can you hear me okay?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me okay now?
Let me see. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Let me see. I don't know what to do on my end. Okay. So, Brother Born Allah, maybe he can help us out with that. So you have to honor, and that's what helps me.
Yes.
What helps me is honoring that essence, acknowledging that essence. So nothing.
I can hear you fine. Can you hear? You can't hear me?
That's what happens when you start giving that good to the community, boy. That's what happens, boy. That's what happens, because this is the stuff that will really turn things around.
Conspiracy theory. All right.
Every time I speak, I want the truth to come out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I speak, I want to shiver. You know, I don't want them to be like, they know what I'm going to say because it's polite. They know what I'm going to say. And even if I get in trouble, you know what I'm saying? Ain't that what we're supposed to do? I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be the ones. But let's not be selfish, and because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change. I don't know how to change, but I know if I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody can clean it up.
Wordsmith. Keep it 1,000 while they sell dreams. West side of Illadale thing. Advisory to the final bell ring. School them start to the finish. Bring your compositions and take notes on how to demolish the competition. Forever a trooper. Killing booths was never a rumor. Just be truthful. Me to you was like Giuseppe the Puma. Sucker Frito the evils and try their best to seduce you. End up in a medic van or a cruiser. Dead or in jail. Bumping OB for CL. Heaven to hell. Which one do you believe in? The ones you least suspect do the scheming. Snooze not even. Staying alert since a youth playing Nerf. Class on my own when I lay a verse. This ain't rehearsed. This is second nature. Never been a hesitator. Doing that while wait a second later. Destined for success. I'm being me and not them. Legend on the MIC. I've been the fiend since Rock Hill. Wordsmith. Wordsmith. It's a gift. Wordsmith. 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 Few happy endings where we living, but it's lots of sorrow. Use it wisely, our time is borrowed. Rather than Mike, they wanna be like Marlo. Don't let that door deceive you. Blinded by the flashy lights, not knowing where it leads to. If your vision's impaired, well, I'm here to lead you. Check the history, we're clearly regal. Black is power, please remember this. Hard times, how we content with this. It's time for our people to reap the benefits. The winners list, I'm something special, not the ordinary. Just trying to keep the youngins out the mortuary. I wanna see them rise, have a family. So if you tryna block my shine, that's insanity. I'm just saying, what would make you front on me? I leave it all on stage so they pay to come and see. I drop gems for days, you can take this one for free, fam. Stay in your lane and be the change you wanna see. Wordsmith. Wordsmith. It's a gift. Wordsmith. 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 Blow butter, construction timid. No other, they love my penmanship. Young and I'm sick with it. Why try resisting it? Clearly I'm rising. Ballin' hard, I need that Larry O'Brien. I vow to get the chip. No star team, it's all me, homie, get the drift. I'm getting better every year, homie, it's a gift. Dropping album after album, homie, this the fifth. W-O-R-D, and don't forget the Smith. Yeah. Mad squabbles, he on my type of time. St. Basil, he on my type of time. Tellin' me, he on my type of time. Yeah, the works, they on my type of time. Trash man, he on my type of time. Eli and MC Knowledge on my type of time. Lyrics still matter, that's the bottom line. Wordsmith, Wordsmith, it's a gift. Wordsmith, Wordsmith, Wordsmith.
So we back on, family. We're back on. Thank you, the producer extraordinaire, Knowledge Born Allah, for bringing us back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. I can hear you, brother. Thank you for that. Like again, for the producer, they're saving when the wheels are stills, when the ones and twos. How much time do we have, brother Joe?
How much time do I have?
Yeah.
Oh, until you're done. I'm free. My text message is blowing up because my doula friends is going crazy.
Why? That's a good thing or bad? That's
good.
Okay.
That's the good fan reunion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So back to the subject at hand, as far as like the self-care. That's why I take self-care so seriously. I know what it has brought me through. I love the person I am today, and that's based off those rituals. We have to create those rituals to replenish ourselves.
Yeah. Just a little bit about the healing part. Begin the conversation with that sister. A negative mental health, because there are some positive mental health. Negative mental health is weight. It's consider it like a weight. And on the one hand, it's part of our job to try to seek out people that look like they may have weight. That look like, sometimes you see it in people's eyes. If you're in a relationship with them, you can see when some people have weight. And it's our job to try to see if we can ask questions on what could help bring down some of that weight. On the other hand, it's their responsibility to put up some hazard signs and say, this would really help with this weight. And healing comes in from one thing. First, there's an issue. Two, a person, we need to figure out who's at fault. As human beings, we also need to find out who's responsible. Once you understand the issue, understand who and what is at fault, and then you can put responsibility on something, that's when the healing road begins. For me, my issue was that my father was not connected and engaged as much as I wanted him to be. And that made me angry at him. But the more I got to understand him, the more I started to understand that he was not totally at fault. His addiction to alcohol was at fault. So instead of me burdening myself with a negativity about my father, I put none of the blame on him, and I started to dislike and hate addiction.
Mm.
So now I'm blaming addiction. I put the responsibility on him because the responsibility was for him to go to meetings.
Right.
I did put that on him, but that was easier to swallow than the whole watermelon of it. So the seeds of responsibility I put on him, the entire watermelon I put on addiction. Addiction was the reason why these things happened. And addiction came from a generation and generation and generation.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when you find a fault, was it your fault? Whose fault was it? Some people like to blame other people, but sometimes you can find other things. The neighborhood, it's not your fault about your parents. It's not your fault about this. It wasn't sometimes anyone's particular fault. It could have been something else, or timing, or issues like that. And then there's responsibility put on it. I have the responsibility to apologize to people.
Mm-hmm.
People can apologize to me, and after that I can write letters and we can start healing from then. If I did something and I'm at fault, I'm now responsible to. I can react the best way I can. I can apologize 100 times. If you refuse to accept it, that weight is no longer on me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm allowed to do certain things, and there's ways to get rid of the weight.
Mm-hmm.
There are questions to ask to get rid of the weight or to shift the weight. And one of the number one questions is, how can I fix it?
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to ask someone, how can I fix it? And they're supposed to come back to you with a solution.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the key thing. A lot of people, a good amount of people may not come back to you with a solution because they're fine with carrying that burden and that want of head, trying to hang that on your head.
Mm-hmm.
So they may
It
not come
defines them.
with a fix. Yeah, they like being the
Yeah.
victim.
Mm-hmm.
But when someone does come back to you and says, well, for you to fix this, you would have to buy me a new car and a fur coat. Fine. 2 weeks later, I come with a new car and a fur coat. The beauty of that is I'm done. My weight is gone. You
Right.
can't even bring it up again.
Right. Right.
And realize there are some people that don't want that because they rather walk around in that space. And there's some people that are going to say, yeah, if you apologize to me in person at the same restaurant you left me at, I'll do it. And you are allowed to go through that and get that off of you. And now you've been giving a charge, and then you can follow through, and then you can get rid of that weight. You can also ask someone, will they forgive you?
Mm-hmm.
Will they forgive you? And they will answer yes, they can, or no, they can.
Mm-hmm.
You can also need to ask someone, can they forgive you?
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, as African American male, there are many of us that we asked for forgiveness. Forgiveness was given, but it really was not.
Right.
It really was not. And we found out later on that they could not forgive this.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some times when someone says that they cannot forgive, that it is time for you to do your best to apologize, and you may need to walk away and have that weight being level. And the last question is, what do you need for me to be forgiven? What do you need to forgive? What do you need from me, or what do I need from you for this to be all right? And I need to know, because after I'm given that, you are no longer burdened with the healing, and I actually have to start healing as well, because I have back whatever I lost, and no one's at fault in the responsibilities taken. So those are questions that we can use with each other. If you're in a relationship, if you're in an issue, start asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Can you forgive me? Will you forgive me? How can I fix this? And what do you need to be forgiven, or for me to forgive you?
That's funny because that's how do I say this? I guess my process is similar. Like I always put the blame on the human behavior. I mean, it's like I try not to put the blame on the person. It's always situational. It's always timing. It's always those things. It's a natural gut reaction. It's some human behavior, some human
Something.
function. Yeah, and so I never put that responsibility on a person. Like, and it's so easy for me to forgive it when it comes from that perspective. It's like, oh, I just put that on, your human
Mm-hmm.
behavior, your emotion, your training, your conditioning, um, your indoctrination.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's all the things that the way we react is learned behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's huge for me because once I adopted um, that process, life became so much more easier, and there's less to apologize for. I'm not acting off the gut. I'm not acting off anything because I'm not taking it personally because I know what I did wasn't intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you say something, I'm like, you know what? Let me think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's for me, then I will apologize. But I definitely apologize a lot less with that process. Yeah,
With that
because it's a
process.
lot. It's like I'm not snapping back at you. You snap on for me, I'm like, that's interesting. Okay, and that's how you really feel. All right, well, that's cool. And they can't argue. It takes two to argue. So if
It
you want to argue with me and you want to snap off of me, I'm like, that's really interesting. Okay, that's how you really
again,
feel.
you're also allowed, and you're absolutely right. I process that way.
Mm-hmm.
I also make everyone around me aware of my boundaries. I have
Mm-hmm.
boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain respects you have to give me. There's certain
Mm-hmm.
ways that I go through things.
Mm-hmm.
When I first met my wife, she's from Queens,
Mm-hmm.
and they really like to raise their voice and argue.
Mm-hmm.
So she would be raising her voice, she'd be arguing, and I'd grab my keys and leave.
Yeah.
She's like outside, like, what are you doing? I'm like, listen, I don't
Yeah.
do that. I don't do
Yeah.
because I'm from West Philly, you from Queens. We gonna end up at the family reunion. It's going. I get the clapping, you get the clap. It's gonna be like I still, I'm an instructor now, but that don't
Yeah.
mean I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're not
It's still
going
in there.
to
It's still
right.
in there. It's still
So
in there.
my reaction is, all right, I'm out. I'm leaving this because I have control. Here's another thing: I have control over what comes out of my mouth,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a control over the place I'm in. I'm allowed. I don't have a lot of controls in this universe. Some things are divine, but I do have control of what comes out of my mouth. I have control of like what I say, and I have control of sometimes where I am. Unless I'm locked in a certain penitentiary, I can leave this room. I can leave from in front of you. I have control of who I talk to on my phone. I only have a certain amount of controls, and one of my controls and my boundaries is you're not going to raise your voice, you're not going to yell at me, you're not going to do all this. If so, I'm out. So after the third time of me just next thing you know, as soon as I reach for my keys, she's like, all right, I'm
That's
chill.
right.
We got to handle this. You're a lioness, I'm a lion. We end up. I got claws, and you got in it. I don't want to go there, and I'm not going to allow you to take me there. So
there you go.
I have my own boundaries. I am someone particularly that I abhor the N word. So even if we friends and you N word me, I'm going to let you know I'm not your. I'm not your N.
Right.
And I told my friend, he was like, oh, well, we all says. I was like, no, I'm buying a house. Niggas don't buy houses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
You pay child support. You know what I mean? Look, I get married. You don't get married. So I'm on another level of that. I'm call me brother. Brother is fine, but don't belittle me. So but then there are people where I have to actually get up and walk away and say, that's what you want to do, cool. But I'm out. But you are allowed to have boundaries and know how you want to deal with this. And you are also allowed to put blame, fault, and responsibility outside of that person. There's people that have been upset with me, and I've said immediately, what did you eat today?
Right.
They'd be like, well, I didn't eat. What that's got to do with it? Please, we black. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, get these oxtails. I bet you the whole your world will change.
That's right. Where they had that Snickers commercials to be like that. They be like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and they get a Snickers. They be like, "Oh, that's what your problem was. You was hungry. That's why you was snapping off like that."
Because we argued about something 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Seriously? So sometimes I try to investigate a little bit. What was your day like? How did it start? What's going on? Who was you on the phone with? Oh, my mother just told me that my aunt died. That's a trigger.
There you go.
That's a
There you
trigger. So
go.
now, all right. So let's talk about your aunt for a little bit, and then we can come back to this. And you'd be surprised. There's a lot of things that can make us go 0 to 100. But there are still a lot of things like comfort and touch and hugs and smiles and good feelings that make you come from 100 back down to 0.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, you got to present those non-negotiables. You got to know, and that's why knowledge itself is so important. It's not so much about who can speak comedic a language, who can speak, Yoruba or whatever the case may be. Knowledge itself is knowledge of self. Knowledge about yourself, knowing yourself, knowing what your triggers are, knowing what your non-negotiables are, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do, what you're going to accept, what you're not going to accept. So that's when we talk about knowledge itself, at least from my perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about I can name every country in Africa and I'm the super pro-black. I mean, like, that's great for you. I mean, for me, knowledge itself is knowledge of me. And that way I know how to conduct myself in the world. And I know how to bring out my full potential. And that's what it's all about. I mean, it's all about your relationship and your relationship with the world.
You have to 100% you have to acknowledge yourself. I mean, I'm Muslim, and I don't understand if you believe in a God and you believe your God is good and you believe you are blessed by God. Why are you so angry all the time? Like I'm like, well,
Great
then
question.
why are you so pissed? Like what your
question.
belief in the all knowing and you have so much. Why are you this angry? I mean, you pull up in a Cadillac talking about X, Y, and Z. Like, what is going? Like, what? You gotta have knowledge of yourself. You gotta realize little things. You need to eat by 12 o'clock, or you need to. Sometimes you just need a hug. Like you just, you're big grown, you just need a hug. You better come get some of this yoga. Stop playing.
Stop playing with yourself, man. Stop
playing, man.
Stop that, man. Stop that. It's okay. It's okay. All right, so we are getting close to the finish line. Yeah, we're getting close to the finish line. So here's a question then. My question to you will be, when do you decide to ask for help? When do you think, as a therapist or as a realist, if somebody tells you, all right, when would you suggest is the best time to ask for help? Do we ask for help when the stress levels start affecting our physical functions? Or do we, sometimes where the stress becomes so much to where we hyperventilating, or the stress becomes so much where, your mind is racing, you can't stop thinking, you can't go to sleep. Is that when we ask for help? Is that the alarms to where we start asking for help?
The best thing about being African and the worst thing about being African is that we don't hold back a lot on our conversation and the communication. It's one of the best things about us. It's also one of the worst because people tell you about yourself. You ain't even ask them about it.
Right.
Yeah, auntie will come out and say whatever's on her mind. That's one of the downfalls of African culture. I found that the best time to seek help is when a good friend has brought something to your attention. A lot of good friends will say little things like, the girl you're dating looks just like your ex. We don't hold back really, really well, especially when we're good friends. Good friends usually, specifically if you're from African descent, they'll tell you how it is. And that's the first sign a good friend will say, "Yo, we're done with this bar. Let's go home." Like they'll say,
Mm-hmm.
"You kind of had a lot last night." Like if it keeps going, we'll go in even harder. But those little tidbits in the beginning, by the time you hit therapy, someone has mentioned something about your problem 2 or 3 times
Mm-hmm.
already.
And you
My
just
other,
ignored it.
you just ignored it.
Yeah.
There are red flags all the time, and a lot of times, good friends and families will bring up these red flags.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is, well, black culture. There's a saying called "tired of being tired." When you find repetition, a negative repetition, hopefully only the second time or the third time, and you're not sure how to keep this negative repetition from happening. Interesting enough, I did the Fathers Club, and I'm around a bunch of fathers, and I found out that when they are with their kids, um, they act a certain way when their kids are with them.
Mm-hmm.
But when their kids had to go back home, a lot of times they resorted to negative behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
and then knowing that helped them change up. Like
Mm-hmm.
when they're with the kids, they're at church. When the kids are living with them, they're at church, they're at the amusement park, they're at the circus. As soon as the kids went home, they'd be at the strip club, they'd be out all night, they'd be drinking all
Mm-hmm.
night. And the reality was they were missing them, they were lonely, and
Mm-hmm.
those are the actual feelings. So when we brought it out that you're feeling um, grief and loss almost every other week, they would experience the same grief and loss as someone that had, lost somebody permanently. And then next week, the kids will come back and they jump back.
Mm-hmm.
When people are bringing things to your attention, a lot of times when people bring to your attention, to be honest with you, it reminds us of somebody else in our family.
Mm-hmm.
When you say to me this, many of us will click back and say, my dad used to do this, my grandfather used to do this, my uncle used to do that. I remember that. And that's when you know there's something hereditary and you should ask for help.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so we coming to the end.
Oh man,
Um,
just get.
yeah, yeah. I have to be respectful
I know
of um, family and all that good stuff. Um,
they
so,
don't like us. Family don't like us till we doing something. As soon as you get off, they're gonna be all quiet.
but like, oh, you was pulling on the table the whole time. You was pulling on my jacket. You know, I thought you wanted something. You didn't want anything.
Nope.
Oh, so the whole time you was just disrupting just to be disrupting.
Pretty much. As
So,
soon as you get off, they be like, "I'm going to bed."
I'm like, oh, ain't that something? Like, yo, ain't that something? Ain't that something? All right, so, oh, I have to shout out Ramona Africa.
Yes.
Um, that piece with Del P. We opened up for Del P a couple times, and we actually um have him present at a couple of our events. And so to see him in this light, winning awards and doing the stuff that he's doing, the major stuff that he's doing, is pretty dope. Um, and Ramona, actually, she was like my first when I first got into the movement. She was like my first crush, believe it or not. I have to say that. I mean, I told her that. I told her that in person one time, and she just like bust the gut laughing so hard. But it was just like I went from loving light skinned women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are the standard of beauty. White women and light skinned women, right? And so then when I got knowledge of self, I was just like, man, there's something nice about chocolate too. You know what I mean? Like something about chocolate. But
How can
right,
you not like chocolate?
right, but that's the conditioning. The conditioning was like, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. You know what I'm saying? And I was in it. I was in it. Like the first, and I shared this story several times. The first from 0 to like 12, 13, 14, 15, I hated when I seen it in the mirror.
What?
I did not like myself. I wanted to be lighter. I wanted to have I'll be sure type hair. I wanted
Oh,
to, yeah, I mean, that's in school. That's all the
I'll be
girls
sure
wanted.
to do it to you.
All the girls wanted. I'll be sure, man. I was like, damn, man, I want to be like I'll be sure Christopher Williams. You know, they love these dudes. You know what I mean? So let me go. I'm gonna get the process. I asked my mom to get the hair process so I can get the curly top. And she was like, "Get out my face. We can't afford it." And I was like, "Damn, all right." But you know, seeing Pam Africa, I mean, Ramona Africa, right?
Yeah.
And watching the videos because the first introduction to consciousness was Move organization and the Move bombing and things of that nature. And I was just like, yo, and the way this woman was talking, bro. I mean, the sheer passion that she was talking about, the love, the love that spewed out her mouth for the people, that was like amazing to me. So it wasn't just the outer beauty, but it was just this inner beauty, this warrior queen stature. It was just this, you know, I,
Yeah,
I was just like, oh my God, who is this woman? Like,
you fall.
who is this woman?
And when you, as you grow, you learn to you can fall in love with strength.
There
You
you
know
go.
everything. Yeah,
There you
can
go.
fall in love, and
There you go.
know, as a man, as a king, as a leader, you'd be like, that'd be a nice queen. Like, you know, many of us, I watched Wakanda, and I was like, yeah, I take an army of them.
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
take
yeah.
an army. Right, I would love to. I would feel protected.
Yeah. Facts.
Because there is no for the African man, there's no one that's going to be more loyal and supportive to them than an African American, to us, than an African American woman. And then it actually goes vice versa. There's no other species besides the African American man that's going to be more loyal to an African American woman than us. We're just made to rule with each other, and we still have been ruling. I was asked the other day, you know, if you could choose another culture, would you? I was like, yeah, no, because
that's a great. That's a
I was
funny
like,
question.
yeah, I like so and so. They got a better accent, and these people. But when I walk in a room, I'm still a figurehead, and even if I'm the only brown one in there, like I'm still a leader in that room, and which is why it's weird that I can make less and still be intimidating. So I like it. And then, you know, I messed around. So I ended up getting a Jerry curl.
Really?
I had a Jerry curl, and then I couldn't afford it.
Right. The
so
upkeep.
it grew out. It grew out. And I let it go for a little while.
Yo, that's great.
I went back to the hairdresser to get another one. She was like, well, it's kind of too late. I said, what do you mean it's too late? She was like, well, they kind of locking up. I was like, they're locking up. And she's like, yeah. So she ended up, she said, well, let me put these locks in and you see if you like them. And that was years ago. And yeah, I thought it was cool. I saw Eddie Murphy with Jerry curl. So-and-so had a Jerry curl. I had it. It grew out, but it started getting kinkly. And
so did you have the Soul Glow?
We still alive. I don't want to answer that question. I don't feel that it's anybody's personal.
Yo, you got that soul. You got that soul.
I didn't know that question would be asked. The producer said I wouldn't have to talk about that.
See, but that's the realness. The realness that comes out when we have a safe space. You know what I'm saying? Like people hear me tell that story, hear that story, they be like, no way, you like didn't like you? Yeah, for like I can remember like looking in the mirror and just like, I wish I was lighter. I wish I had a smaller nose. I wish my lip wasn't as big. I wish my hair was something different.
Yeah, but when you're here, so which is interesting because when you're here, you do have a drive and a need to fit in.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is odd because I didn't start traveling. I actually didn't start traveling because I had kids kind of early, till 30s. So, which was a mind-blowing experience for me because when I got into an area in a space in the Caribbean where everybody was brown, it was, I mean, everybody everywhere was brown. It was the opposite. I was like, oh, my hair is not as locked as theirs. Like I wish my locks were you know, they're man, they got a bigger nose. Like their cheeks are more defined. Like it depends where you put these pieces. And in America, I'm like, yeah, at one time I wish I could fit in, but I realized I'm never ever going to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never ever, and you just become comfortable with the fact that you are a puzzle piece,
Mm-hmm.
and it will not fit in America, but oh God, it fits so well some other places. Like you
Yeah.
just it just clicks in Caribbean, the Dominican Republic, and Jamaica, and a lot of in Africa. You just Africa. You walk down the street, they be like, "Come eat some rice." Like you're like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm home. Like you only know
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you be like, I fit. So I'm not saying you don't fit. I'm just saying that you fit in your world, you fit in your
Mm-hmm.
space, you fit in your genre, you fit in music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as a person and as a whole, you'll find a better fit. There's nothing wrong with that. And then you find
Yeah.
fits around people. Like
Yeah.
I find people. You know, I end up, every time I turn around, like there's people roughly around my complexion or darker or this, and it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I didn't realize, like I said, I didn't realize that until I was like 15. Um, then I was like, oh, I read the knowledge. I read Journey of the Sunghai People by Redman Battle, and I was just like, hmm, our nose is this big for what? Oh, our skin is this reason. Oh, these are majestic features.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
these are not. These are not. This is not a curse.
no, that's
No.
yeah.
Oh, we got the curly hair to protect our brain because our brain is more what? So what? A melanin is not just color black. This is
Yeah.
chemicals that's inside our body. And this is why we dominant athletes because of the melanin that's in. Oh
Oh, okay,
snap! Oh,
okay. Right. Oh, all right.
and you call Jesus Jerusalem Slim? You mean
Mm.
Jesus was black? Yeah, Revelation. Oh, what?
Wait, hair of wool.
Wow.
Hair of
Yeah.
hair of wool. Hair
Yeah.
of wool.
I was like,
Wait.
oh snap. Yeah, I was like, oh snap. They said you look like Jesus. You look like Jesus. Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay, I can deal with this. Oh, okay. Let me take you more oxygen so I can bust y'all in the 440 real fast. Y'all be like, so
Before
like, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So like before that though, I'm forever grateful for um
I got
ed-
introduced. Yeah, so Islam was later, but I got introduced through the Moorish temple.
mm,
So I started learning about Moors before anything, and then
mm,
I mean, just it was fascinating to to see Moorish princes and knights and how they conducted their
mm-hmm,
own world and they did it's just this. So yeah, I watched the movie Wakanda, but yeah, that's a reality that could be real.
mm-hmm. Oh
Actually,
yeah.
yeah, I know comic book and all that, but yeah, I believe in that's a possibility that we can feed um, and then help others as well. I'm never going to leave somebody hungry, but yeah, we can take care of self and help take care of
Mm-hmm.
others. I
Yeah.
believe they're always going to look to us for. I mean, they do it in now.
Yeah.
Everything from fashion to music, like we pretty
Yeah.
much run. Yeah, we run sports, we run fashion, we run music. Yeah, we run. So we.
Their creativity is limitless.
Oh my gosh! Oh my
And
gosh!
that's under oppression. Can you imagine if we wasn't underneath the system of oppression, what we would be doing? I mean, the evidence is there.
It's fascinating. Just culturally, it's fascinating when you talk about United States of America one time under Jim Crow and not even 100 years later having a black president. When you
Hmm.
talk about and you really learn what apartheid was, and for an African man to end up president, like just thinking about what those people went through on a daily basis of stressors and
Hmm.
traumas and
Hmm.
beatings and watching to actually become the leader, and you think, man, we're awesome. Like you can't, like, how do you not? Who does that? Like
Yeah.
who who goes from slave to ruler of the free world? Like
Yeah.
who does that? I've never known. Like we still don't have a Jewish president. Like who does that?
Right.
Like who else could have that type of grit and
Mm-hmm.
we don't take no well. Like we just, all right, I'll build it myself. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were like, they told us all the food we can give you is the scraps
Mm-hmm.
that we don't want to eat and the garbage.
Mm-hmm.
That food has now been transformed into a soul food delicacy that
Mm-hmm.
you now pay $40 for
Mm-hmm.
pig's feet. Like
Mm-hmm.
it is, who does that? Like
Yeah.
who takes scraps?
Yeah.
You have people in fine dining talking about I want chitlins. Who
Yeah.
who where does that
Yeah.
happen at? Who what other culture could it's just fascinating. Yeah,
Yes.
so I
That's
wouldn't really
that's
want
that's what that's that's what we do. That's what we do, and that's
that's
who
what
we
we
are.
do.
And so it's just nice to have that a constant reminder, because they can spew their own venom. They
Yeah,
can put their own networks up and stuff like that. But I just I'm just really proud that I'm part of the alternative. That okay, yeah, they got that, but you can also have this. And so, brother, I'm so grateful um, to be walking this journey with you. I'm
right.
so grateful for the lives that we have touched and um, just putting people, giving them the tools and the strategies to be the best them. And it's pretty dope.
It's pretty dope.
It's pretty dope.
I'm
Uh,
fine with it. I'm fine with it. All
that's
right,
it.
brother.
That's it. So here, no, no, no. So last words.
Okay. Oh, for me? Oh,
Yes, sir.
um, you know, I want to switch self care to an investment in self.
Hmm.
Um, I want to switch self care into recharging. I want you to self care to understanding what your needs are to be better. I want you to everyone to start thinking about talking to an experienced friend first, and then eventually going into therapy. But enough is enough. These words are out there. Mental health is real. Um, you have to be man enough, or if you are woman enough, and if you are a real man, and if you're a real woman, that means you're strong enough to ask for help.
There you go. Man, how can I follow that up? So where can people find you?
They can. We're at Daddy University Incorporated on Instagram. Daddy University Incorporated on Facebook. Daddy University .com. You can call our office at 610-579 DADS.
Dope, dope. Uh, so my last words would be, it's okay not to be okay. We're human.
Heck yeah.
Accept your humanity, embrace your humanity. Everything that happened to you to this point is preparing you for your purpose and your gift to humanity. So embrace that and accept that. Um, if you find any value in this presentation, hit us up. Hit me up on the Cash App. $ BMa'at Inc. Money we greatly appreciate it. We provide sponsorships, we provide scholarships, um, we support Black businesses, other Black entities. Next show will be dedicated to Black love.
Woohoo.
We'll have Mancho and Nawasha on, and they will be talking about Black love, that event that we're actually putting on February 20th. So we will have relationship advice. We would be loving from a cultural standpoint. We would be loving each other holistically. It's not about gifts. It's not about going broke, trying to show your love to someone, going into debt, trying to show your love to someone. But this is something that we're going to be practicing 365, 24/7. And then you don't have to go into debt showing love to your lover. And we're going to cover all relationships. We're not just talking about romantically. We're talking about relationship with self, relationship with family, relationship with the community, relationship with the nation, and relationship with the Most High. Whatever you call him or her, or whatever the case may be, there's a higher power that you salute to and that you submit to. And you want to have a better relationship with that entity as well. So we'll be crossing all those barriers of relationship, having functioning relationships. That's next week on the 14th from 7 to 9. Brother, it was a pleasure. It was an honor. When is your next? You got a project coming up or something that you want to speak to?
Our next project right now, we are doing the Fathers Club, which is a fatherhood support and educational group. We do it at the West Philadelphia YMCA, and we are also doing at the North Philadelphia YMCA, and it starts in February. Contact Brother Farugh, and because I'll send him all the information.
Nice. All right, so then we signing out. All right, so again, thank you for this journey of empowerment and self-discovery. BMa'at, our slogan is BMa'at and become a master of life. Ashe. Peace and blessings, family. Bless. Peace.
Yeah, Philly, stand up. Welcome to the kingdom of the grinders and hustlers, where the pastor preach and the Muslims be covered up. The Chinos and the Poppies whip it up for a bunch of us, using bulletproof glass while serving their customers. City floors abundant with Dutchess and rubbish, dirt bikes popping wheelies while their engines erupting. Breakers is on the side when them doors get to shutting. You gon' watch them go to work once they speakers is dumping. On the L riding through Kensington where the Ricans be living in, using fire hydrants when there ain't no way for them to swim. Boosters on the strip selling like it's a hobby. Side game gorgeous, but they Air Jordans is icy. You can find me in the underground, rocking them stages in notable places, recognized by multiple faces. Down north, south, and west, uptown and the rest. Philly stay fly like the MEAGLES. So yes, the home of the slow grind, where we all get into it in no time. Going hard in the field, the O-line winning cause we keep it real. That's no lie. I represent the home of the slow grind, where we all get into it in no time. Going hard in the field, the O-line winning cause we keep it real. That's no lie. Yo, welcome to 215, lyrically the home of the ill. With crowd spaz if you false, representing the real. From south to southwest, West Philly to north, every day is a different hustle. From the Oyus to the Newports, early morning run-ins, OGs stacking cans again. Offer the homeless food, they turn it down to take your stash again. So much going on in our city, the tourists passing in. Flash mobs died, so schools never had to clash again. Rocky Step statues, landmarks, the best zoos. The Eagles beat the Patriots in Super Bowl 52. Sean Smith got the Roots co-sign, he winning too. All of the above, shutting down every interview. I'm telling you, it's in our physique, simply unique. Who got the whole world yelling out free meat? We never weak, through the pain we still rise up above. I'm happy to be from the city they call brotherly love. What's up? The home of the slow grind, where we all get into it in no time. Going hard in the field, the O-line winning cause we keep it real. That's no lie. I represent the home of the slow grind, where we all get into it in no time. Going hard in the field, the O-line winning cause we keep it real. That's no lie, homie. My city always getting televised. Yeah, get real. Young and steady, whipping white, staying straight with the steel. Squad cars should be y'all tour guys. Y'all couldn't bear the minutes. Killers ready with them hammers. Yeah, we got them real mechanics. Yeah, real good with machinery, but it's a different scenery. Besides the violence, Philly be the place that people dream to be. And you can easily become in love with the culture. Just keep it authentic. See, we could do without all the vultures cause they be drawn like these other cities who be singing John. Acting like they made the slang at the hand, meek perform. We the winning team every time we go against the norm.
And it feel heavy.
Haters find it hard to keep the score.
Focus never slacking, we just stacking to build a rapport. City full of legends that's cemented on floors.
From the roots to state property, Will to Jill, Scott and Eve, top commodities. Homie, this is where you gotta be. P-H-I-L-L-Y, representing P-H-I-L-L-Y, representing P-H-I-L-L-Y, representing P-H-I.